A lot of times when you read things or you even hear professionals or experienced people speak, you don't even realize the different ideas and habits that you already had yourself that you're not really, implementing
On
in.
today's Find the Balance Friday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis interview the voice of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Sharita Campbell, who discusses being a Division I student athlete, her transition into the world of coaching, as well as being the parent of an up-and-coming high school student athlete. Welcome to today's show.
Dr. Keith Adams is the president of the CKA Save Project, a nonprofit organization designed to assist student athletes and the people who work with them through educational and professional development. He is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college levels. He has won numerous championships and epitomizes professionalism. Coach Mike Franchise Francis is one of the most successful football and basketball coaches in the state of Maryland. He too is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college level and is self-admittedly a little rough around the edges. Both men have mentored countless student athletes, teachers, and coaches using their unique methods and approaches to leadership. Both men also share a unique and special friendship that was cultivated often through their unique perspective of life and leadership. Dr. Adams through his extensive educational background and Coach Francis through his life experiences. Can these two men share a podcast without driving each other crazy? Welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Ken Patera to my Brad Rangings in the last waning days of the AWA, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, how are you on this Find the Balance Friday episode day, sir?
I am good. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I hope you're doing well.
Oh, yes. This is a very exciting time for us because we love taping our Find the Balance shows, and we hope the audience like it. And on today's Find the Balance Friday episode, we have with us someone special to the Odd Coaches Podcast family. We have the voice of the OCP, my cousin, 2 or 3 times removed. I still don't know how we're related, but we actually are, I believe. Miss Sharita Campbell. And Sharita, how are you today? And thank you for joining us.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting business right here. I'm really happy to be here.
All right. So, Sharita, tell our listeners a little bit about your background. Where did you go to high school? What sports did you play? Where did you go to college? A little bit about your college career. And for me, don't forget to tell them about the degree. Talk to us a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, just about little old me, I am from Springbrook High School, Silver Spring, 4-year varsity athlete there, played volleyball and ran track. Was inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame for Springbrook a few years back. I've been nominated or not nominated. I've been placed on the all-decade team for Montgomery County for 2000 and 2010. That was a fantastic time to be in high school. I went to college at St. John's University. I did a year there on athletic scholarship, and then I transferred to Manhattan College where I finished out the remainder of college. Got my bachelor's degree in business management, minor in finance, and voila, here I am today.
Oh, I love it. And message for parents and student athletes, you can do multiple sports and life will still move on for you. Coach Francis, any initial thoughts hearing Sharita's bio? Anything on your mind, sir?
Yeah, as soon as she mentioned Springbrook, I kind of got a little upset. It's the only school that kind of sent us home every year. When I was at Meade and I played in the 80s, we lost to them in football twice and basketball twice. So when she said that, I had a little PTSD, but,
That's about it. Don't feel that way.
All right. Sharita, you are the voice of the Odd Coaches Podcast. And can you tell our listeners a little bit about how you achieved this prestigious role And I do have some behind the scenes stories as well with that. But how did you get roped in to working with these two guys?
Man, honestly, it must have been ordained because I have no idea. This is not something I saw happening at all. I honestly I couldn't even say anyone would even enjoy listening to me speak. So was definitely honored with this privilege of having the opportunity to read a little bit. The opening, I think it was between maybe me and someone else. You guys listened to the voices and chose me. Like I said, honorable position. But I could not have envisioned this for myself. It is a lot of fun, though. Let me tell you, I'm really getting into it now. I got a little groove going, so I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, so here's the behind the scenes story. So fans of the show, we initially started off, because I'm an old athletic director, with auditions for podcast producers. And I said to my partner, hey, we should have auditions for voices too. So let's put one show together, let's put the other show together and see what show we like. Well, we liked the same producer. We both agreed on Kelly. And then I remember Mike, Coach Francis, said, hey, who's the voice on this episode? I love it. That was you. So although the other person is very close to us in the family, it was like, hey, Sharita is hands down the voice we want. And that again is Coach Franchise saying, this is what I want. So that is the behind the scenes. Coach, do you remember that, sir?
I do remember. I remember. It was like I could distinctly understand every word. It was a nice mellow tone. It was going through. I was like, yeah, that's it, to set off us two crazies. This is perfect.
Much appreciated.
And with that, Coach set me up very well to segue. We'll be back with more Find the Balance Friday, as well as our conversation with Sharita Campbell right after this brief commercial break.
Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project's book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success, is now available for purchase. The book serves as both a memoir of Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes numerous personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues, including former George Mason standout Follering Campbell. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And with us today is Sharita Campbell, the voice of the OCP. And Sharita, you not only had a chance to preview the book during the writing process, and when I say the writing process, you were there for the entire writing process, but the very first page, because your husband wrote the foreword, and I'm sure you looked at a sentence or two or all of it to make sure that it was the right thing to do. But you also have a ninth grade student athlete beginning his career. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you're using not only the Find the Balance book, but the approach to assist your son's development as he starts his high school playing process?
Yeah, absolutely. This book is, a lot of times when you read things or you even hear professionals or experienced people speak, you don't even realize the different ideas and habits that you already had yourself that you're not really, implementing in other aspects of your life. And even through just working, I've had to find new habits and new daily routines to make sure I'm productive, to make sure I'm doing what it is I need to do. And even when I saw in the book, there's like a list of daily actions to have a successful student athlete. And I'm reading it and I'm like, this is literally what my son needs. And I've been doing this myself already, but just, specific aspects of just intentional daily actions, which I'll say habits because, habits, once you create a habit, it's like routine for you. So it's like initially the things that we're doing when I'm telling you, you need to make sure you're speaking to your teachers every day. You need to make sure that you're up and early so that you get yourself going before you actually attempt a class, a practice, whatever you're doing. Start before the start time. That way you're actually prepared. And seeing that, I'm like, it's crazy to me that I never even thought to actually have him do these things. Make sure, you get up, you're making your bed, you're eating breakfast, you wash your face, all of these intentional things to set you up to be on time to class, to actually engage in the conversation with your teacher, to ask questions back to them. Speaking back to adults, a lot of times for kids is not something that they think they should do. You think you're just supposed to sit there and listen. I want engagement because once you start talking, it sinks in more. You sit down and even with my daughter, she's in elementary school, but sit down, teach me how to do something you learned today in school. Show me how to do it. And as they're going through it, it sinks in more. You're learning more. Same thing with sports. Anything I'll tell my own athletes, buy a volleyball, go home, touch it, use it. Those intentional daily routines, habits, actions create your success. So doing that for my son too, him being in 9th grade is just having to understand any person is going to have their own thoughts and their own emotions and their own ways of going about doing things. So I have to accept some of the things that I wouldn't do that he does. I have to accept that, but also trying to maneuver his path so that, okay, you can do it that way, but make sure you're at least trying it in this arena. Do these things your way, but do these things. So yeah, the book is awesome. Like I said, didn't even realize these things were in me that I should be giving to him also.
Coach Francis, anything you want to add based on Sharita's responses?
I think the biggest thing, like she said, one of the things that I always try to do is have my kids tell me what they learned and show me something that, because we all know that's when they can exhibit it and display it themselves, then you really know that they have it. I think that's important. I don't think it's enough of that. And I think sometimes, and it's not being a bad parent, but as a parent, you just assume the kid knows and they didn't tell you they're having a problem, so it's all, it's always good for that checkup, and it's always good to engage, as she said, with teachers and get in a situation where not that they're on the same level as their teacher, but engaging with them in their own academics and their own learning process is very important.
All right. And Sharita, you are also a high school coach in not one, but 2 sports. Share your thoughts on coaching today. What challenges are you facing? What success are you having? I love listening to coaches talk about coaching. Tell us, how's it going right now through COVID?
COVID is the test of time. Let me tell you, it is difficult because already just with the sport that I coach, where I coach. So speaking of volleyball first, a lot of the girls that I have now at Springbrook, when I get them, they are not only new to the sport, but they're new to athletics. So that's been the biggest takeaway that I've gotten, is that maybe my purpose is not just in, I'm going to coach this varsity sport and, I have my own goals. I want to win division. I want to do these things. I want to increase knowledge and all that stuff. But also I need to do some groundwork here, because obviously girls in middle school are not getting the access that they need to sports, like just knowing general athletic movements, knowing general athletic habits, just as far as even getting to the gym early. One of my first lessons was that I can't put the actual start time on our calendar, because with you showing up at 5:00 without your shoes on, without your knee pads on, the net is not set up, is unacceptable. There's a lot of other things we have to do. So again, understanding that a lot of these things are not common knowledge to some of these ladies because they're new to athletics, it broadens the whole scope of what I need to cover, how I need to approach ladies before even, we get to the part where you're even, you have enough courage to even try out for this sport. So my biggest goal first was I wanted to at least get girls out to participate. And we've had the highest turnout for tryouts since before I was coaching, from what I understand. And that part is, that's the first goal. But then the second one is getting them to stay on and have the discipline to want to do the hard work. You want to do the preseason. You want to do the weight room. You want to get extra time in. I have girls now that I'll see them after school and they're going out to run a mile on the track just because they're not even in a sport now. So now I know that you enjoy this. This is something that you find gratification in, because we have these small goals and small competitions within the practice. Another part of the book that I'm just like, that's so golden, because having competition within your practice, within your program, not just on game day. I want that energy all the time. Like, we need to come in the gym. We love each other as a team, but at any given time, if you want playing time, you're going to have to show that. And having girls get that attitude is always a bright spot for me. And then even with the track side, having athletes from all other sports understand the importance of knowing how to use your arms, having endurance, how you can use other sports to, even if it's not your main sport, help you with this one. This coach might have a different insight and may have a better outlook with how your athletic and academic success is supposed to happen. And hearing these things and being able to engage with kids on, different levels like that is, honestly, and coaching is another one that I was kind of encouraged and pushed into, where I did not see myself going, but it has been very rewarding. And I don't see myself stopping anytime soon.
Mike, I know you're jumping at the bit. Go ahead and jump.
I love it.
Man.
I love it. Everything she's saying, I really love it, because 100% correct. You and I have been doing this forever. And, I took the job to coach tennis 2 years ago, and we haven't won a tennis. Our school, same way. Kids have never played tennis. We're buying tennis rackets, kids. But, to get the engagement, I had like 25 kids. It was like, wow, we didn't know we were going to have it. But we never won. And it wasn't a fact, as we know, about winning. It was a fact that someone who really cared about those students' future and provided skills and lessons for them. Same thing. Practice at 2:30. Kids are rolling out at 2:30. Where you been? You know what I mean? Well, you said 2:30. I said, no. Okay, but here's the process. Here's a life lessons for you. To be on time is to be early. All right? That's what it is. That's it. All right? To be late is to be on time. So don't come and see me at 2:30 for a 2:30 practice because you're late. All right. At 2:30, you should be standing on the court with your shoes on, racket in your hand, talk about, all right, coach, we ready to stretch. Like, that's the thing. And you're putting them in situations and giving them processes to be successful with those life lessons, because then they take that with them to work, to the work world, to college, to whatever it may be that they choose. But it's very important. And I knew that I was put there for that. It wasn't about winning. It was about, here's this guy who, it's going to help us. And the fact, like you said, you're touching those kids. It sounds great. Like the girls that's running, girls going running now, because you've introduced athletics to them and it's made a change in their life. And that's what it's supposed to be about.
I love it. In addition to all of that, being a mother, being a wife, being a coach, you're also a real estate agent. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
What?
And how you find the balance. Shameless plug. Go ahead. Tell us how you continue to find the balance with all of that.
To be honest, I'm still finding the balance, but I think the natural competitor in me helps with some of that stuff again, with setting your own goals and being intentional with your time. It's like, I told myself, I want to at least accomplish this within my first year. And it's like, I think I made the announcement that I was going to be an agent 2020, December, like 28th of 2020. And so I'll hit a year at the end of this month. And it's like I said, I'm going to do 6 transactions. I just want to be able, like, somebody I want to work with me. And I've done, on the 29th, I'll have done 10 transactions on this year. Wow. And I'm looking at every day as like, what can I do today? Of course, there's going to be days where I'm like, today is not it. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to not answer my phone. I'm going to have a mental break, woosah, so I can get back into action. And I think that's where some of the balance comes, because a lot of times I'll find myself using all of my energy, all of it, instead of trying to like figure out how to, I need to conserve this, maybe, just stretch my day. I'll burn myself to the end. I say yes a lot to things that I don't need to be saying yes to, just because I feel like, if it's been asked of me, I should at least try to do it. But I don't even think I say out loud sometimes. It's like, I do have 2 kids, one in elementary school, one in high school. They need my attention. I do have a husband who just retired from professional basketball overseas. He's now at home with me. He needs my time and attention too. I need my time and attention to do business stuff, because as an agent, I'm my own boss essentially. So whatever I'm doing, I'm managing that time myself, and just finding success in my daily habits. Like I had a chart, like for the first 6 months, I had a chart and I needed to knock out 61 points every day to make sure that I was being productive. I am actually, because sometimes, if you don't have tangible successes, something that I can like see right now, it feels like you're not really doing anything. But if I know I went through this list and I made calls, I went and talked, I had conversations about real estate. I went to go look in neighborhoods that I've never been to before. Small things, even just checking up on the market, seeing, what's going on in different areas. Little things add up. And I found value in the baby steps, because I think a lot of times I would like to leap, because even with athletics, I think early on I found easy success. And my dad would say it a lot too. It's like, you can be good at a lot of things, but pick something, do something. Well, you don't have to do everything, do something. And then finding success in the baby steps, like today, okay, I accomplished this, and then tomorrow I accomplished this plus 2 more things. And even going to bed, before you go to bed, do one more thing, whether it's checking an email, whether it's, researching something, calling somebody. Finish every day with a success. Finishing every day with a success helps me sleep better at night. And I think that's how I'm, still functioning and not going crazy right now with how the world is going.
All right. That was wonderful. And that's a good time to take a break before our final segment. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast with Sharita Campbell.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes, as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. And in segment 3, we usually have this wonderful thing called Tell Your Best Odd Coaches podcast story. And since both of these people on, Fowler and Campbell, Sharita's husband, has joined us, a longtime friend of mine. Sharita, tell your best Coach Adams story, because I have no idea what the story is going to be. And let's see how this works out for our Find the Balance Friday show. So what's your best Coach Adams story?
No, and it's honestly, you already know this, because the best story was literally the moment we found out that we were related through a distant cousin twice removed.
Wow.
I get a phone call randomly, because honestly, I had you as a teacher when you found out.
and you give me this call with, and first of all, just I want to say, in my high school experience, you were the teacher that always had energy. I mean, energy on a scale from 1 to 10, energy on 20 all the time. So the phone call started off with pure excitement. I don't even think we got to the gist of what was going on for like the first 2 minutes, because you were just so excited about the news you just heard. And I'm like, what's going on? It's cousin Sharita. You know, we're related. I'm like, this cannot be real. What is happening right now? And it's like the conversation goes, it's excitement, it's randomness. And then immediately I get a phone call from your player on your team, who is just so excited to find out that his coach is related to me. So he wants to talk about it. But then it was honestly the next day at school, as I'm walking up to class, always out in the hallway, always visible to students, but it's in the middle of switching classes. Everybody's in the hallway. As a kid, I never wanted to be anybody's center of attention. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. I like to fade off to the back. In his loudest voice down the hall, cousin Sharita. Everybody, do y'all know that Sharita is my cousin? We are related. And I'm like, this is not happening right now.
He told the whole school.
In that moment, everybody found out. But obviously, now and since it's been nothing but, because your relationships and the way that you carry yourself and how you care about people that you love and people in your life is just amazing. So it's honestly a great experience, even though who even knows how this even is a thing. I don't know, but it's nice, because even without that little tidbit, you are family. So it all worked out. But it's just, that moment in the hallway, if I could just melt into the floor, I would have melted.
I'll tell you this, I was excited. When I heard the news, oh my God. And I was walking right next to him when you were yelling down the hallway.
Oh man.
Just laughing. Like I was weak that day.
Coach Francis, any thoughts on you actually probably seeing me do this, knowing me for over 30 years?
I bet that was one spectacle of a show. I could see him there with his hands up, yelling. I know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there, but I know him. I know that's what was going on. I know it.
Oh man, that was and always will be funny, because it was random. Because I remember my cousin had mentioned something by name, and there's not a lot of Sharitas out there, and I was like, wait a second, Sharita, that she's play volleyball, whatever. Yeah, that's my whatever. I'm like, so wait, that makes us related. Yeah, kind of, sort of. If your aunt something, and
yep.
So that's randomly
that's how status right there.
All right, Sharita, to close out, how can our audience reach you to get in contact with you about any real estate needs they may have? And we'll have our super producer, Kelly, put this information on our YouTube show. But if you could say it out loud, and we can share your good stuff here.
Yeah, honestly, the easiest way to reach me, if you check out my Instagram page, I am Rita Joy on Instagram, at Rita Joy, RITAJOY. I have a link directly to my landing page. It has all of my contact information. I answer my cell phone all the time. I answer any numbers, and if I don't answer, I call right back. So email's on there, my phone number's on there. Like I said, go to my Instagram page. Link is in the bio. Hit me up.
All right.
Are you looking for any weekend agents?
So before we close, Mr. Campbell, anything you'd like to say about your wife and all of the work that she's doing? Since I am going to pass that to you before we wrap up.
No, I'm just proud of her. And I really appreciate her. And I just want to let her know I love her.
All right. Well, on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, and our guests, Sharita Campbell, and jumping in for his FaceTime, following Campbell. I am Dr. Keith Adams saying so long for the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.